We shall indeed. How do you want to do this here, Kyle? Who wants to go first? Are we going loser goes first, or do you want to
No, it'll
defer
be the
because you won?
same. It'll be the same every week, where the winner gets to pick whether they get the first pick
Okay.
or the wraparound.
All right.
Um,
Well, funny
and
enough, I got to throw it back to you here.
yeah,
What do you want to
so
do?
I think last time you took the wraparound,
Yes.
and I liked how that worked for you. But there's so many different intriguing options this week that I think I'm going to take the first pick and see what you do on the 2-3. So I will take the first overall pick here.
Okay. I have a guy lined up. We'll see if you take him, but go ahead with your first overall selection for Kansas.
Well, with my first overall pick, um, it's going to be the same first overall pick that I took last time. Kyle Larson is my first overall pick for the fantasy draft. Won the
Okay.
playoff race at Kansas last year, finished second earlier this year. Toyotas were dominant, but the only guy that was up there contending with them was Kyle Larson. If Hendrick finds more speed, he's going to be right there for the win. If they stay status quo, at Kansas and Toyota's still there, well, then Larson's still going to be in the mix. Um, the couple of mechanical issues back to back does scare me a little bit, but all things considered, I think Larson is the safe bet as the first overall pick.
That was crazy that he had another kind of engine hiccup there, and then it just
Yeah.
proved to be nothing. I don't quite understand what the heck was going on with the Hendrick engines, but you took the guy I wanted. Let's just get that out of the
Okay.
way.
I didn't know who I thought you might lean a Toyota guy, so that's
No,
interesting.
I wanted the guy that just no matter what it
The
seems
guy
like he's
who's
like
damn
in the
good.
top three
Yeah.
there, like running the wall and
Yeah.
just ripping it.
Fair enough.
If he had track position there, anybody in that top three, I think they probably would have won in the spring.
Mm.
But all right, you've taken Mr. Larson.
2-3. Here we go.
For myself, I'm going to take. I'm going to go with a bit of a redemption. I'm going to go with Kyle Busch this week at Kansas,
Okay.
and I'm going to take Ross Chastain as well.
Okay.
I think both of those guys. I'm taking two guys I took last week, but their mile and a half results have spoken for themselves this
Yep.
season. I think they've been so good contenders each and every week. Chastain was up there in the mix, finished seventh in the spring. Kyle Busch finished third. They both led laps, so I can't. I feel like I can't go wrong with them. There's a lot of different guys I feel like in that top mix that you could pick, but I do want a bit of variety just in case Toyota isn't as strong. I think Kyle Busch will be the strongest or top two Toyota this weekend. And then I think Ross Chastain will be maybe second behind Kyle Larson for the Chevrolet camp at Kansas. So I will take those as my second and third picks.
Yeah, Kyle Busch is a really strong pick this weekend. Of course, Kurt got all the attention and stuff. Larson was right there with them, but
Yeah,
easy to forget that Kyle was right there for a lot of that race. Alrighty,
I don't forget.
yeah, no kidding. So far, all of our picks are on the same team as last time. Let's
He's
uh
going to switch it up.
let's buck that trend, shall we? Fourth overall, I'll be taking Denny Hamlin.
Yeah.
The Toyota Speed is the Toyota Speed, and it's a track that Hamlin had some good results at, whether it's been getting at stage points, getting good finish, stuff like that. So I'll take Hamlin there in the fourth spot. And number 5, I will go back to the Hendrick camp, and I will take Chase Elliott here.
Okay.
Just good speed overall all season long. They have still a bit of a buffer to the cutoff line here in the round of 16, but it's a lot tighter than I'm sure they would like it to be. Chase Elliott bouncing back after a driver mistake at Darlington early in the race. Kansas has been a track where he's had some really strong results, not quite as much the first race this season, but just too much to pass up on there in the 5 slot. So I'll take Hamlin and Elliott for my 4-5.
Those are great picks. I mean, those could easily have been my 2 and
Mhm.
3. There's I think probably your top 5 guys. I don't know who you would have taken if I let those two
I
slide.
might have slid somebody else in for Ross Chastain, but I think after this is where it really gets interesting. I think Chastain is absolutely in that mix though, for sure. Like
Okay.
you could absolutely make a case for Chastain being in there.
All right. My next guy is 100% going back to JGR, Christopher Bell. I'm taking that 20 car.
I like
Love
that.
him at this track. I think I think he could be a race winner candidate for this weekend.
Yep.
I really do. It would be kind of funny if Eric Jones and Christopher Bell opened the playoffs with victories this season, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it would.
But he led laps in the spring as well, finished fifth, and the numbers are trending upwards with Christopher Bell. Had a great start to his playoffs. I don't see that this first round just lines up really well for him. So I think the 20 car is absolutely going to be in contention for the race win this weekend. So I'll take the 20 car. And then for my next selection, this is where it gets a bit tricky here. I think now you're getting into who the fringe guys.
Some swings, yeah.
Yeah. But I will take a guy that's going to be desperate for some points, Kevin Harvick.
Okay.
Been too good here
good pick.
Historically. Didn't have the greatest spring race, finishing 15th, but over the past 7 races here, I'm pulling it out again. His average finish is 6.9 here, 4 top fives, 5 top 10s, 198 laps led. This is a guy that does really well at Kansas. I think he needs some points. Could go for some stage points and tries to salvage a finish if cautions play right. But I do think the Fords will bring a little bit more speed than they showed in the spring. Kevin Harvick is my 4th selection in the draft.
I like that back-to-back. That's a really strong duo there.
Thanks.
You know what? It worked for me last time. We're going back to the non-playoffs.
Oh, no, I thought you were taking Eric Jones. Oh, okay.
Martin Truex Jr. is my 8th overall pick.
Great pick.
Kind of surprised me to see that he has 6 consecutive top 10s at Kansas. Only one of those inside the top 5, but has led a handful of laps back in 2019, early 2020. But since then has just kind of quietly had some really solid results at Kansas. Of course, the Toyota Speed earlier this year was really impressive. Of course, that team is still looking to win races, even though they're not in the playoffs. So I'll take Truex as my number 8 there. And I like the Toyotas this weekend. I'm taking Bubba Wallace as my 9th overall pick. Hey, look, the 9th overall swing worked for me last time. This is technically a playoff driver, just not for the Drivers' Championship, for the Owners' Championship.
Yeah.
Had a solid points day, all things considered, for the opening round of the weekend. 23-11 literally won this race earlier this year. And if not for pit road troubles and pit stop troubles, Bubba Wallace probably would have been up there in that top 5 conversation as well. So I'll take the swing on 23-11, and Bubba Wallace is my final pick of this draft.
I'm really liking your lineup. I'm not going to lie.
Thank you.
I think it's pretty sporty.
But I think you could definitely surprise here. You've got a lot of really good swings.
This is my problem, though. This is my dilemma. We know how I get when I get frazzled at the end here when you take some guys that I want. 10th overall pick.
Where are we going here?
I need the NBA draft music.
Yeah, I know. No kidding. I should put that in the post.
Yeah. I'm going to go with a guy that kind of shocked with some speed here to open the playoffs. Willie B. William Byron will round out my lineup. It's between him and Ryan Blaney. I think Blaney is better at this track than results have showed, but he just can never finish the race. And I feel like he just hasn't had that race winning speed, obviously, all season. He's been pretty consistent, but I think William Byron, from what he said post-race, they gone back to the basics. And I think that's what we really saw in that summer months. They were experimenting. They tried some new things. They went down the wrong road, and they opened the playoffs back with their bread and butter, and they had some pretty good speed, top 5, top 7 speed. And that's what I'm going to hope for again at Kansas. They led laps in the spring as well. Finished 16th, so not the greatest end result for them, but I'm hoping that they can really round it out here and get back into that early season form where we thought they were a championship contender in that Hendrick bunch, right there with Chase Elliott and right there with Kyle Larson. So William Byron rounds up my lineup with a 10th overall selection.
I like that. So that means the championship leader right now, Joey Logano, not in either of our lineups.
Yeah.
Top 5 currently, Tyler Reddick in the standings, not in our lineups, and Ryan Blaney there as well, not in our lineup. So some big hitters not in our lineups this weekend, but I think that kind of lends to what we saw earlier this season in the race and kind of who had the dominant cars and stuff like that, where we really do expect this to be a Toyota track this weekend.
Yeah, and Logano's just not quite had the track record here to show me that I can put him in my lineup. And the Penske cars haven't been fantastic on 1.5 miles this season. When you look at, I would expect Hendrick to bring a better package this time around, and JGR has just been fantastic this season on them. So
Trackhouse low key really strong there as well.
Yeah, Daniel Suarez was an outside shot. Outside shot, because we talked about this in our playoff predictions last week. Suarez was running 4th or 5th at the time that he wrecked in the spring. So they have the speed. It's just whether or not they can finish the results. I'm going to go with more pedigree in playoff performers
Yeah.
than a guy that's in there trying to
Proven.
spice
Yeah.
up the party. So, fascinating stuff as always, Kyle. That'll do it for
I like this,
the fantasy part, the draft, where we got 5 different
So
guys
let's go
each.
over our
I do
teams
think it's
before
good.
we get to the final picks and stuff like that. So I led things off first overall with Kyle Larson, and then rounded out my team with Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., and taking the swing on Bubba Wallace.
For myself, I'm going with Kyle Busch. Rowdy's going to be in contention for the win this weekend. Chastain, the Melon Man, he's going to be up there in contention this weekend. Christopher Bell, he's going to be up there in contention this weekend. I'm basically hoping my top 5 is the only top 5 that happens this weekend.
I really hope that happens at some point. That would be very impressive.
Yeah, and then they all wreck. And then Kevin Harvick was my 4th selection, and then rounded all off Willie B, William Byron. So
good stuff.
I like your lineup probably a little bit more. But if I lit off with Kyle Larson, I feel like I would feel a little bit more confident.
Yeah.
But this is always what happened last year. I'd always feel like, man, you got the better lineup. So it's bringing me deja vu again.
I mean, to be fair, last year, the stats kind of proved that I did usually have a better lineup.
Yeah, that's why. As soon as the show starts up again, I get all frazzled and I'm all over the place. And but
the psychological warfare.
I'm terrible at it.